learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your Watchlist coming in November 12th, 2020, and the stock market is setting up for a move. Today was a very interesting day. You actually didn't get much movement, and it was because of Veterans Day. And now putting this into the context of what we've seen the last few days, even closing right before those record highs that we set a few days ago, tomorrow and Friday are going to be very, very interesting days. But specifically, a lot of the moves were able to happen today, and some of the money was tied up because of Veterans Day. The banks aren't operating, even though the stock market's open, so it creates a weird effect, and that's why coming into Thursday and Friday, it could be very, very key. So we have a few things to talk about. Today was pretty uneventful regardless. I wasn't even feeling too good. I'm feeling a little bit better here. I'll see you guys in the morning, but I got the plays. I got the keys, the two plays that we made today, and then one of the big plays that I'll be looking at tomorrow that I really, really like. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description, and it's pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free $99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/thestockmarket. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watchlist come to life, and yes, if you just want to get financially motivated, I think that's a term that we need to start using, then we are the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watchlist below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. So right off the bat, today was interesting because the rotation stopped, and this is what we were talking about yesterday. A lot of people asked, what do we do? And you see the rotation. Are you supposed to move into value? Well, the idea is you should have some diversification in your portfolio. You guys have seen the long term. So the idea is spotting it and kind of understanding it, because it could pick up at some times. It might rotate a little bit. You don't really want to move too much, and we were observing a lot today. However, the rotation completely stopped. You started to see FANG and tech stocks come back up today. However, I wouldn't say it's over just yet, just because now some of those value stocks still held up a decent amount. So I'm thinking this was mainly caused because of the bonds and the other markets that were hindered today. Again, bonds weren't even trading. It was harder for money to clear today with the holidays. I think you saw a lot more retail movements today and a lot less of the volume versus seeing some of the more institutional type trades or size we've been seeing the last few days. Even if we pull it up on the daily chart here with the volume, this was one of the lowest volumes that we've had all week. So ever since the election and everything, the last 7 trading days, today was pretty much almost half of the volume as it was 2 days ago. So this is why I think today is going to be kind of pivotal coming into tomorrow, because once that volume returns, we want to see now is that institution money is the bigger money when the volume comes here today. Where is it going to be going? Is it going to be going to bonds and safer assets? Are people still going to rotate into value and away from tech? So that's what we want to look at. That's why today was important, and we're going to keep watching that moving forward. As far as everything else today, you saw a lot of weird moves. Again, at pretty much this little hour right here is when things started to pick up. Otherwise, today was very, very uneventful. And again, I think you could attribute that to the holiday here, but we started getting reports of New York is going to be closing down bars, limiting like curfew. Again, all of this lockdown talk, but it started this 1 hour movement here, and you started getting news out at various times. So there's two pieces with it, but New York was the main one, and we want to see how the market starts to respond to any lockdown news. Again, here, even in San Diego, California, they've gone back to purple tier. A lot of places around, depending on the case numbers, they are skyrocketing right now. So you're seeing different areas take action, and now the question is going to be, how is the market going to respond to this? But not only that, but when? So naturally, I think there's going to be a delay. So this is why I'm watching to see if there's a melt up, and we're seeing if there's a divergence between bad news and where the market holds up. But last time we saw it take some time. So I want to observe all of those things. And then at the same time, it's been a little bit harder to determine the virus's impact on the market as of lately. Again, there's been the election, there's all these other factors, but at that same time, during this little hour move where we saw the biggest move of the day, there was also another piece of news from Mr. Osterholm. I had to look into this. It's the Biden COVID advisor. It's this guy here. It was covered in a few places, but this was during that little 1 hour drop. But he started making statements, and this guy is now on the Biden COVID advisor team, and he's saying stuff how 4 to 6 weeks will be a good lockdown to prevent the virus and all that. So I think this is important. I think the people are going to be important because now, depending on how everything plays out in the next few weeks, even coming after January, you're going to want to start seeing these people and who's on the team and whatnot. Again, things are going to switch up to what we were looking at, but these are people who might be able to start moving stuff. So this was important here. I thought that was also part of the key now. But granted, any single move that you had today, given the limited activity with bonds and all that, it was just a lot more contained. There was a lot less volume. So those were the main things. As far as everything else for the rest of the week, you're going to get the CPI inflation data in the United States as well as a few other places, but you shouldn't have any other bigger earnings. I think coming into next week, we'll get a few companies here and there, but before you know it, we are going to start eyeing the end of the year and finishing up 2020 and getting into 2021. So I hope you're ready, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I made a few plays actually, and I actually have a play that I really like that I want to go over, but I finally made the Disney play. I talked about this 2 times. The last 2 days, I've explained how I kind of like it for this rotation aspect. I think it's in the middle. I think it's both growth and value, how it performed the last few days. I thought that was good. So, and then they have earnings coming up here too, but I liked them. I grabbed 3 of the April 16th, 2021. So it was about like 156 days of time on it. The $200 call, grabbed them at 77 cents, spent about $230, $40 for all those. And then that was the first play. And again, the logic behind that is catching both growth and value. So finally got a little bit. I still have the January play as well too. So that play is still up, not as up as it was initially. But the idea with that play is I still like it. And that play was big, but I'm really just aiming for getting more time because I just like the idea with it. And Disney is a slower mover, if anything. So that was the first play of the day. The second play of the day, a little bit surprising, but I did Twitter. So I actually kind of like this play. It even started shooting up there a little bit at close. I don't know how the contract closed out. Contract just widened the spread. It's a little bit up here, but I grabbed 2 of them, kept it small. November 20th, not a lot of time, 47 call. I got them at 26 cents, so spent a little bit over $50 for it. But the idea with this play is that the news came out, I want to say right here the first time. Oh, wow. It was actually a lot early. It was here throughout the day. So that was the first pop. This was news, but they said that they're going to be releasing their carousel ads very soon. And why I played that, because it started popping and it was moving slow. I said, well, let me get $50 on it because I was kind of unsure, but the whole logic was in their last earnings, we even talked about it. They said they were going to delay that. So if that could speed up one of their ad programs, a lot of investors were hyped for, and it was going to kind of create a boost. I liked it, and the stock really wasn't moving that much. So I thought we could have kind of snaked it, but kept it small. Thankfully we did. And that's kind of even been the strategy moving forward with here. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity even in the next few weeks. I'm probably going to set up here for a really big play, but in the meantime, it's observing this again and still using that scaling in strategy to take advantage of all these. So those were the first 2 plays. As far as your final play now, Johnson & Johnson, and I really like this one. So kind of like Disney, where it's a slower mover, and any of these slower movers, I could like them. It doesn't mean I'm going to buy them instantly. Again, it all depends on the premium prices, but I love where Johnson & Johnson is at because it is related to the vaccine. You've seen how they've been with Pfizer. It is just literally just right above the 2020 move. So they've had an interesting rotation. Again, some of these stocks that had this big bounce, they were really down, and they're barely getting up to their 2020 highs. They've held up and they've held on, and then also now they're related to the vaccine and they're not moving like a tech company. So putting this in context, this just seems really small to me considering the last few days, so I like that. I think it definitely hasn't moved as much, but we've seen what Johnson & Johnson can do and be a part of, and maybe it is because of the vaccine and all that, but we will see. I want to start looking for some cheap plays, and the key moving forward from here is going to be getting time. So a lot of November, December, January, those don't have a lot of time right now, and before you know it, again, the end of the year is going to be here, but getting some with time is going to be the key. So that's the main play I'm going to be looking at that I don't have. The other 2 we already got. As far as everything else, watch the work from home trade. I was even looking at Zoom calls. Again, just talking about this whole lockdown and working from home. These work from home stocks might come up, but the problem was that last drop kind of just, it messed up the trend a little bit. So we want to see if it goes lower than this 100-day high, or really where it started moving since September. And we want to see how these continue, but I like that play on the upside. Again, Zoom has just been crazy, but I am going to watch those, any of the stocks that could benefit from the work from home trade. But be careful. Again, people were just thinking it was going to die 2 days ago at the vaccine, so it's going to be a push and pull. Watch McDonald's and HD. These ones are great this morning. I had had the HDs in the morning. I didn't add to them because we still have that old position, that first ever one we scaled in on. It's still down like 50%. So I just held it. But HD and McDonald's were really, really outperforming today. So in the morning, it's a little hard to see kind of right now with how it's moved. But when the market wasn't doing anything, McDonald's and HD really, really, really rotated. And it makes sense because the other days you would have thought they would have rotated, but they didn't as much. So I really, really like that about these two. Be keeping my eyes on it. I watched Facebook and Amazon pretty much all day on the option chains. They didn't go too crazy. Again, most of the move happened here in the morning, and it was really hard to pick up on it in the sense that the first hour or so you didn't really see that the rotation was ending. And then it kind of just made one big move, didn't come down from there, stalled out, and then it's like, okay, well, looks like Veterans Day. So watch those. Disney, Twitter, like we said, Johnson & Johnson, and even watch MRNA and Pfizer, any of these vaccine plays. I think even NVAX, but it's interesting to see how they're kind of leveling out. I really want to watch that Pfizer, but then the fact MRNA started popping up, this actually really, 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 really surprised me. Again, it lost its trend a while ago. You guys remember all those vaccine plays we made. So for it to kind of break trend and look like it was going to fail, and even with all the other news and how it's going up here, I think it's very, very important here. So I want to look at that. I think it's going to be hard to play, but in general, we want to see, does that vaccine wave get started? Does the work from home second round come up here, or does it die out? This is a very, very crucial moment to pay attention to. So I am going to be watching those. Watch Walgreens. We still really like that. You could kind of see how it valued today, where again, this is where I'm saying the rotation stopped going up a lot today, but these stocks didn't really, people didn't sell out of them. People still stayed in these. So watch those. Keep watching some of those bigger value names that did move. And then finally, Boeing. I think this is going to be kind of a key of the rotation. I think the larger Boeing is moving up or down. I think the market is just going to do the exact opposite. And I think it has the ability to affect a lot of things. So I'm going to be watching Boeing. I think it's going to be pretty pivotal here. And again, it has just moved a lot. I think the premiums are a little bit more expensive, but I think it's able to tell you a lot about the market pretty early when a lot of other industries and stuff is just getting a little bit pushed and pulled by other factors. So watch them. Watch travel, hospitality as well. I'll keep a secondary eye on those. And then finally, UUP, GLD, TLT. You want to see if it breaks out of this range. So the dollar went up a little bit. That could tell you something. Even then, gold, it's starting to do the opposite. And then TLT, you really, you're not going to see anything here today. We'll see how this one plays out tomorrow, but that might be it. You saw gold and dollars move a little bit. So we need to watch, or if anything, as the inflation data and all that stuff comes out, watch to see how we can make a play or get an observation of this coming into next week. So we got our work cut out, and there's going to be a lot, but that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to be okay with the original, and I need you to be able to not look when you want something. So, Nicole loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the morning. Let's go.